Hi there, welcome back to the Board Game Specialist. I'm Carla.
And I'm Melanie.
And today we are talking about our top 9 games that were made before the year 2000. Now, this was, there was less, obviously, to choose from here, but it was still quite a list for me to pick from. What about you?
Yeah, I would say I probably had 2025.
Yeah.
That I kind of had narrowed it down to, and then kind of did my list from those.
Yeah, there was still a lot of games to choose from, which I was shocked at some of them that were made that early. And that I still play them and I love them. So it will be interesting. But before that, what have you been playing lately?
So, well, Patrick was over this weekend and he ended up coming to play with me, and we ended up playing like 10 times. We had 10 plays. The first one that we played was Ramen Fury, which is a bit like Sushi Go in a way. Like you've got 3 bowls of noodles and you're trying to add ingredients to your bowls to try to score as much as possible. And the flavor that you add to your bowl kind of sets how they'll score. So if it's beef flavor, then you want to have the most different kinds of meat in there. If it's vegetable flavor, then you're trying to get vegetables. And if it's, so it was kind of neat. And then some of them you'll put, you get like these spicy that you can add. And if you add that, you would add to somebody else's bowl and it's too spicy. So it's negative points unless you go with a spicy flavor, then they become plus 2 points. It was interesting. It's like a simple game. You have your card in your hand and you place them on your noodles. You have like an Asian spoon that allows you to kind of scoop out an ingredient out of your bowl if you need to. It plays super quick. It was a lot of fun. And that was like my first guinea pig game because I've been deluxifying some of my bits using like resin coating. And that was the first one that I tested it on. So the spoons were all fancy now.
And now with that ramen, isn't it like you can add spice to somebody else, but there's only a limit of how many cards. So if you're the last one to add it,
you can only have 5 cards in your bowl. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So it's a bit of a take that. So be like Sushi Go, loosely feel of a Sushi Go, but with a take that element to it. And that we had a good time with it. And then Lee and I played the Grizzled. Which is a cooperative game based like on a war. Like you pick a character that you play as, and it's really interesting. Like, I mean, it's a dark subject, and this kind of thing. Like, you're not gonna win. You don't play to win. You play to survive the war, and hope that you can make it until peace comes. Right? And you draw cards, and then the goal is to play the cards out of your hand without revealing 3 of the same symbol. And it's kind of, I guess, the phobia that you develop, like, I don't want to see snow again, or I don't want to see another bullet, like, and that sort of stuff. So you're trying to avoid having 3 because then you fail the mission. If you fail the mission, all those cards go back onto the pile that covers the peace card, and your goal is to try to get rid of all those cards so you reveal the peace card. Now, if you pass the mission, at any time you could be like, okay, I retreat, and then you stop adding cards to the middle of the pile. But then, if you have any cards left in your hand, you're going to be adding more cards into your peace pile as well, which you call like the trial pile, and so makes it harder. So you're trying to discard as many cards as you can, but trying to be successful with your mission. But in the meantime, you'll be accumulating like drama and trauma and different things that you attach to your character. And if you ever get 4, then you lose the game as well. This is one of those games that is a very difficult co-op to win, but it is very satisfying to play. I really enjoyed this one. What I got, like, watching tutorials on it, not the designer, but the artist that did all the artwork was actually killed by terrorists, I guess, from what I understand. So,
oh my gosh.
It was kind of like, it had captured like the difficulty of war, like being stuck in a war and then just having that kind of experience. That, it was just But it was a really cool game. It's one of those, yeah, it's going to be difficult to win. Somebody had commented, because I posted about it. Somebody commented, he's like, he's won 3 times to losing 70.
So he's played a lot. Wow.
Yeah, but the whole time you're playing, even though you're probably going to lose, it feels like the victory's just there. You just got to get one more. Like, it feels like you're almost about to do it, but you probably won't. Yeah. But yeah, so that was great. I really enjoyed getting that one off the shelf of shame. I noticed there was an expansion in there at your order, but I haven't tried that one yet.
Oh yeah, there's a few for that game, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nice. So how about you? What have you played lately?
Well, I had a game day on the weekend with a bunch of people. You couldn't make it, unfortunately, but we had about 7 of us, so we broke into 2, and then 1 left, so there was 6 of us, and we were trying to figure out a game, like not just a party game, but a game where we could all play. So I ran upstairs and I'm looking around, I'm like, ooh, Planet Unknown, we can play. And it doesn't feel like it would be a 6-player, like long game, right? So I pulled that out, and it was perfect because it's simultaneous play. So it doesn't really lengthen the game, the players you add, because you all do your turn on the same time. And what you do is you have this like lazy Susan in front of you with all these different polyomino tiles on them. And each slot has 2 options, and you kind of spin it around, and whoever's turn it is chooses one, and then everybody else has like a slot to choose from. So you take a tile and you put it on your board. And you have these boards that are like grids, and it's like a space theme. And so you will choose a tile and you'll place it, and you have to start on the outside of your board. And it always has 2 terrain on it. And whatever terrain it is, you will move up the tracks. And so it could be like tech track. There's a water track only if you've placed it on the water. There's a civilization track. There's like a green trees track. And then there's a rover track where you move this little rover around your board to collect meteors and other things. But it's so neat. So there's only a limited amount of turns. And we played with the objectives. So you have like a neighbor objective. So every pair has one in between them, and you're kind of fighting over that with the pair. Then we also pulled a private one. You have a private objective that you're trying to fulfill. And then we played with the events. So the events, you pull one each round, and sometimes it's a good thing. Everybody gets something extra, and sometimes it takes away something. So we played that, and it just flowed so well, and everybody loved it. Everybody who didn't have the game, other than my like main group, was like, I need to get this game because it's just so awesome. I mean, the polyomino play, Tetris, you're playing and then moving up tracks, and the tracks are so cool because a lot of the spots are, it bump up another track somewhere as soon as you move up. So then you bump that one up, and that one lets you bump up another one. And this one will give you something. And it's just like, that combo thing, kind of like a Gong Chong Clever, where you check one thing off, which gives you that, which gives you that. It's just a fun game. And I'm sure we played it under like an hour and 15, maybe an hour and a half.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
So that was fun. I love that game. And I've also been playing it on BGA. Now I can't get enough of it because it's so fun. The other game I just pulled out the other day, I'm like, I really want to like dive into this game and learn it well. And so I started playing it solo to get the gist of it again, was Earth. Now I know you learned this with your brother, and I had played it before a couple times, and it was a little like, yeah, it's okay. And then I don't know if I had just watched a video and I was like, I gotta pull that out again. But so I played it a couple times, and I did 2-handed instead of the solo because I had to learn the solo way to play. But it is so awesome. I mean, it's another one where it's basically simultaneous play. Mm-hmm. On your turn, you choose like a better action, and then everybody else gets like a sub action, which is not quite as good, but decent. And then you activate all that color on your board. So if you got a really good engine going with that, will kind of give you, like, you have to pay dirt to place cards down into this 4x4 grid. Then like you want to get an engine for the dirt, which is the currency. You're trying to grow these little trees basically, and then have a canopy on top to get maximum points for each card. Then there's these objectives in the middle that everybody's trying to race to accomplish. Then you also have some endgame points, and there's so much going on that you're trying to work for. But also you have your own private ones. It's so fun. And it's like all about like mushrooms and plants. And then there's a few animals in them and different terrain and weather. Then you have event cards that you can play anytime. And a lot of times they're worth negative points, but they'll give you like a bunch of, like little sprouts that are basically points as well, or they'll give you a bunch of dirt or cards. The cards, you can have an unlimited amount of cards, and cards can also be played as compost, which is basically 1 point per card. So it's a huge point salad game, and there's so many different ways to get points. It's just how do you maximize them the best. So I've just kind of been diving into this, and I'm just loving it. I can't wait to play it as a multiplayer again, but those are two that I've been really loving lately.
Earth was neat. It's very puzzly. Like there's a lot to consider. It's like, okay, well, hold on. I need more soil then to do this. And I was like, but if I could do this thing, it allows me to put a bunch of cards, and those are going to count as cards. And it's like, oh, great. I can activate green, but I have no green cards. Yeah. Like that was my time when I played it. I don't think I had any green cards. So every time that action activated, I was like, well, that's freaking,
there's very few green. Like activation
that would
cards.
explain. Yeah. So it was a little tough, and I was like, I don't want to do that action, but it was interesting just to picking which action to activate. And it was a really neat one. Like there's a lot of strategy to it.
Yeah. And especially the more you play it, you get, okay, so I can't just have an engine for dirt. I need to get an engine to build the stems, to build the sprouts, to get more cards, and then to compost the cards. Like you need a well-rounded engine. Like the first couple times that I was playing it again, I would have like all these things that gave me ways to compost cards, but then I didn't have anything to give me cards, so I couldn't compost cards that I didn't have. So it's neat how you have to kind of balance everything out. But yeah, that was awesome.
Nice.
All right, well, let's get into our topic today. Now, do you have any honorable mentions?
You know what? I've purposely kind of left out Cribbage, which is a game that is amazing.
Yeah,
I love
I did
Crib.
too. We talk about it a lot. So
we do. I've left out Crokinole as well. Like I've kind of, I don't know. I try to go with a little bit more gamey games. Yeah. Like more of like a tabletop game than those ones. Although they could totally fit, but you know. So those were some of the ones that, they're great games. I love them. I didn't put them in this list on purpose. Yeah. How about you? Any honorable mention for you?
No, I left those out. I did leave out my GIF series, which I talk about a lot, just because I talk about it a lot, and it kind of started before 2000, but then it carried on after. So unless I was just choosing the actual GIF game, I left that out. And and then there's a bunch of other ones I won't mention because they might be on your list, but they're also awesome. It was a tough list, that's for sure. There was things I didn't want to leave out, but something. Yeah,
there's a few that I added to this list. It's like, I didn't realize I was that old. Because that's okay, that's cool. But yeah. All
right. So what's your number 9?
My number 9 is Uwe Rosenberg game. He's on my list a couple times. And this one is Mamma Mia. This one was created in 1998. And this is a really fun card game. And we're each like waiters in a pizza shop, and we're adding ingredients into the oven, which is basically just a pile. And you take turn adding ingredients, and if it's going to be the same ingredient, you can do multiple. So I'll be like, okay, well, I'm putting 2 pepperoni. And then, okay, well, I'm going to put a mushroom. It's like, well, I'm putting 3 green peppers. And you keep adding on into this oven. And when you think there's enough ingredient in this pile for one of the order card that you have, be like, okay, well, I think I have enough to make this pizza now. So then you put the pizza in this pile. And then people keep adding, but this is like a memory game because you got to try to remember which ingredient is in the pile, which ingredient has probably been used by the orders that's been put down. And so you keep doing that till all the cards are played. And then what happens is a person will take the pile and start like from the bottom, start putting out the ingredient and sorting them. And when an order comes up, then they pull out the ingredients for that order. And if there's enough to fulfill the order, then that player keeps the order as points. And they all have like color coded so you know which one was your order. And then, so if you're able to, then perfect, those ingredients are gone. If they didn't have enough, the ingredient stays. If they're missing a little bit and they actually have those ingredients in their hand, they can supplement as well. So then they keep sorting the rest of the ingredients, and then the next order comes up. It's like, oh my God, I thought there was a lot of peppers, but you just used them all, and I know I put an order with a lot of peppers. It's like,
how do you tell whose order it is again? I forget.
It's color coded.
Oh, okay,
so
right.
if it's like the yellow card with the yellow order, then you know it's the yellow player that is fulfilling that order. And then there's one that's like an all-in pizza. And when that one comes in, it has to have 15 ingredients or more. And if there's enough ingredients, at least 15 or 12, I can't remember, but it takes all the ingredients away and then it start again. So I was like, oh, I didn't realize you played that card. And it's like, there's not going to be enough ingredients. Or it is just really interesting. This is one that we've played a lot too at the restaurant while we wait for our order to come. And we just play Mamma Mia at the table because it has, you just kind of add cards into a pile, so it doesn't take that much space until you start sorting it and stuff. But great game. It's just, I remember the first time I played it, it was just so clever. It was just a neat, clever card game. So that's my number 9, Mamma Mia from 1998.
Yeah, that is a good one. I've only played it once. I bought it, but my friends didn't like it, so I'll have to find a group. I know. And I was terrible at it. Yeah. They don't like a lot of the little card games that you and I like.
Right.
Like there's a few that they love, but not a lot of them. So yeah, we'll have to play this sometime for sure. All right. Well, my number 9 is Survive Escape from Atlantis. And this was made in 1982 by Julian Cortland Smith. Now, this one was one of my gateway games for sure that I played at our cafe when we first went, where it's like and I've had the 30th anniversary, I think it's called, edition.
Nice.
Or something. But anyway, I haven't seen any other copy, so that's all I think is out there now. And so it's all these wooden pieces. You have this board with this water terrain, and then you place these hexagon tiles on it first, and they all have 3 different types of terrain. It's like marsh, I don't know if it's grass and something else. And you place those out, and then everybody places their meeples. Now their little meeples have numbers on the bottom, and you get to look at them at the beginning. So you know which ones you're placing where. I mean, you can try to remember which ones, but what you're trying to do is get them to land. And of course you'd want the higher numbered meeples, as many of those as you can get to land, because that's the points at the end of the game. That's it. And so the corners of the board are the land. So you one at a time will place a meeple on these different terrain, and you obviously will try to go to the highest terrain because that's going to be lasting the longest. And then once everybody's placed their meeples, you'll place out boats. You get 1 or 2 depending on player count. And then you start the game. And the game starts where one person will take a tile, and you always take the smallest or thinnest tiles off first. And if there's a meeple on it, well, they're in the water and they're vulnerable because there could be sharks and all kinds of things that could get them. But what you're trying to do is get them on a boat and get them to land. Now, multiple people can be in a boat, and you can control it, whoever's in the boat. But you kind of don't want to put all your people in one boat, because then everyone's going to try and sink that boat. So you kind of spread it out and try to get them to land without at least sea creatures can destroy the boat and the people. Whales can flip the boat. They won't eat people, but then a shark could come along and eat the people, and you can swim. Sometimes you do swim as much, and you get to land by swimming if no sharks come. It's such a silly game, but it's nice, and the production of it is like gorgeous. So I don't know like what the actual production was like in 1982. I've never seen one, so I have no idea, but it's such a neat game, and it's a total take that game. So if your family, whoever's into it, I mean, going into it, like it's not, you can't be upset about it, because that's all it is basically trying to get people out of your boat, or like you can't actually kick them out of your boat, but trying to get them into water and be in like terrible, like shark infested waters. It's a fun game, and that's my number 9, Survive Escape from Atlantis.
I do find take that game, when you know that's exactly what the point of the game is, it takes away from the mean feel of it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, my number 8 is actually a game, like this one I played with Patrick. We played it 4 times this last weekend, and I think just because it's so fresh in my mind now, I'm like, okay, yeah, no, this one is cool. So, and that is Quarto, created in 1991 by Blaise Muller. And this is an abstract game. So you have these wooden pegs. Some are square, some are circle, some are tall, some are short, some have a little hollowed out on top, and some don't. And some are light and some are dark. And you're trying to create a line of 4 of those pegs in a row that have one element that's all the same. So either all circle pegs in a row, all tall pegs in a row, all light wood colored pegs in a row, or something like that. What's really interesting though is it's a 2-player game, and you take turn adding a peg onto the board, but you don't pick which peg you play. The other player hands you the peg you're going to play and where you're going to add them to the board. And so many times I'm like, all right, I'll give him this, and then he wins. I was like, oh, how did I not see this? And honestly, we did, Patrick is almost unbeatable at this game. Like we played, I was like, oh my God, I think I've won once. And it was pulling teeth. But he kept winning. Like these abstract game chess, like he's good at these. So
yeah, that's awesome.
But and like on the table, it looks really neat. Like it comes with this board that you play everything on. That's like a really nice black board with like the engraved pattern into it. It's a great looking game, but it was a lot of fun. So that's my number 8, Quarto.
Well, that's my number 8 is Quarto.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. And ironically, I don't have the game, and I've never played it in person. I've watched it, and I've like wanted to get it, but then it came on BGA, so I play it all the time, because it's literally, it could be a 5-minute game, 10-minute game, but it is such easy rules that you could teach it to a 6-year-old. But it's so hard, because you're like, this is so easy. I just won't put that there or this there. Oh, but I forgot about that over there.
And eventually the board gets full, and it's like, oh my God.
Like, I have nothing to do. You blocked me. You won, because I can't. I have to put it here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's an awesome game. I love it. Yeah, that's my number 8 as well.
That's nice. All right. Well, my number 7. And there was another one that I was like, it was neck and neck on which one I would put in there. But I picked For Sale. This one was created in 1997 by Stefan Dora. I almost put High Society, to which to me has a really similar feel as well. But with For Sale, like you play in 2 rounds. The first round is you'll be putting out different cards, and you have some money in your hand, and you'll be bidding on which housing you want to buy. But the housing have different values. It starts from a cardboard box with a value of like 1 or 0, or like a point value of 1, I think it is. But it could go all the way to a space station that has a point value of 30. And you're trying to you play your money bidding on trying to be like the last one in if you can. First one to be like bow out says, okay, never mind, I'm not bidding anymore. They get to take half their money back. But then they take the lowest house that's available. Right. So I was like, great, well, I guess I'm taking the cardboard box. But But the person who's the last player in, now they get the top of the line house that was in that round, but then they spent all the money as well. And eventually, if you run out of money, then you just automatically have to take the crappy house every time, right? So, but having the low point house doesn't mean necessarily you're going to lose. It all depends on how the next round goes. Because then afterwards, in the next round, you're going to flip different cards, and those are buyers. And it's like, okay, well, this one is buying for 10,000 or million or whatever it is, 10. And this one is, for 7, and there's a 2, and then there's a 0. So it's like, okay, well, I don't want the 0. So everybody picks a card in their hand, and there's like, well, you really don't want the 0. You're going to try to pick a higher value housing that you collected in the first round. Then everybody reveals at the same time. So whoever got the highest valued house in that round will take the highest price. And then whoever has the lowest will end up with the lowest price. But sometimes all the prices are good. Like if your lowest price is 10,000, there's like, well, I'm playing my cardboard boxes because I'm getting at least 10,000 for it. So, and then at the end of the game, you tally up all the money that you got from selling your houses. And if you have any money left over from the first round, that gets added in point, and whoever has the most money is the winner. It's neat. It is such a clever game with the 2 rounds, trying to collect the resource that you're going to sell and trying to get as much. It is fun. I really like this one. That's my number 7 for sale.
Yeah, that is a neat one. It's funny. I've played, I have the game and I've played it before, but I've been playing it on BGA, and it's always like a big group that will play it. And so I'm like, oh yeah, I'll play. And then all of a sudden someone was chatting and they're like, oh, so-and-so is playing with us. He's an absolute shark at this game. And I'm like, how hard can you be to beat someone? This guy or girl, I don't know who it is, literally destroys every time. And I'm like trying to figure out what is the strategy they're doing. I've only played a few times with that person, but there's a shark on BGA. Just go and try and see if you can find this person. It's funny.
Nice.
All right. My number 7 is Can't Stop, made in 1980 by Sid Saxon. This one is an absolute gem too. Another one where it's just the simplest rules. You're like, what? This just sounds like it can't be that fun. All you're doing is moving up these tracks and trying to get to the end of 3 tracks. And that's how you win the game. But how you do it is, the version I've always played is like a stop sign, or like it's a mountain you're hiking on. And it has numbers 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is the middle. So that's the longest track. And so it kind of goes like 2 is really small, and then 3 is a little bit bigger, and so on. Then 7's the longest. Then it starts to go back down with 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And so you roll, I don't know, is it 4 dice or 5?
4, because you match them 2 together, right? You
match them, right? So you roll 4 dice, and then you mix and match them to whatever numbers you want them to be. So if I have like 2 4s and 2 2s, I could either have 2 6s or an 8 and a 4. And then you would move up those 2 tracks. And so, fine, okay, I'll put these little black things on those 2 tracks, and then I roll again. If I got those 2 numbers again, I'd move up. But if I got another number, then I move up that track. Now you can only move up 3 tracks at a time. So if I roll the dice again and roll one of those numbers, well, that's fine. I move up. But if I roll neither of those numbers, I bust. So it's a push your luck, like, ooh, can I keep rolling those numbers? 7, most likely you're going to keep rolling it. But that's usually the first track that's finished. And then after that, if you keep rolling and I roll 7, well, then I can't move up that track. So it's less options. So you're kind of trying to move up these tracks, like, not slowly, but kind of evenly, like at least 3 of them, because you almost don't want to get too quick with one. And then if you push your luck and you're way up there and you're like, oh, one more time. And nope. Then you go back down to where you started from. But if you do get up a certain spot, you can say, I'm stopping. And then you lock in your little slots there. And then you don't lose anything from that. Next time you'll carry on from there. It's such a silly game and sounds kind of ridiculous, but it's so fun, and it just makes your heart race because you're like, I'm up 2 tracks and he's up 2 tracks. I just need to roll a 2, because you try, I'm going to try these little easy tracks 2 and 12 because you only have to move up twice, but you rarely roll a 2 and a 12.
It's hard to get,
It's fun.
It's a neat game. It's so cool.
It is.
The worst is when you're like almost at the end of the track and somebody else completes it first, and then all that work goes away.
Oh, that was such a waste.
You did that so many times. Oh my god. So yeah. This one was actually my number 10. It just missed the list.
Oh, nice. I had made my own version of this because I didn't have the game during COVID, and I'd play it over Zoom with a friend. I'd be like, okay, this is your rule. What do you want from that? And it's just fun. I like it.
That's cool.
But that's my number 7. Can't stop.
Nice. My number 6 is Stickem. From 1993 by Klaus Pelesch. This is a trick-taking game. And this is a mean trick-taking game. One that my stepdaughter loved. We played it. But what's really interesting with this is like everybody at the beginning of the round, everybody's going to put one card face up. And that one shows which is your painful trick.
Pain card. Right?
Your pain card, because you're trying not to collect these tricks because these are going to be negative points for you.
It's hard to wrap your brain around that.
Exactly. So it's like, okay, so I pick, you look at the cards you have in your hand, it's like, okay, well, so I don't think I'll win a lot of this particular chapter. I'm going to pick this to be my pain. But the card you flip up is also part of points, that negative points you would have to count as well. So you got to keep that in mind. You don't want to pick a big card. Yeah. So you're picking this one, then of course everybody else knows which one they are now, so they automatically try to give it to you, right? And so the person who's going to start the round plays a card, but the trump is every other suit is going to be trump.
Yeah, it's so hard to
So then it's like, okay, well then I'm going to try to match that one, and then it's like, and it is interesting. It is such a neat game. And then you're just trying to like, oh, I see what you did there. So you're gonna win this trick, and you don't want yellow, and yellow is a card that started. So let me give you big fat yellow. So it's but it is fun. It is a very satisfying trick taking game. I really like it. This one was my surprise one. I was like, really? I thought this was like a newer game, but no, 1993. So that's my number 6, Stickem.
Yeah, that's such a good one. I played this with a group of friends who are card game players, but not like gamers, I would say. And so we played this, and so I taught it to them, and they all absolutely loved it, and I had to order it for them. But it was funny. We were playing it, and we were having a few drinks and playing, and then the one friend, she's like, Kat, I'm surprised you're not good at this because you're a gamer, and I'm like, hang on here. I play like 1,000 different trick-taking, ladder climbing, card shedding games. I'm wrapping my brain around this. Plus, I don't technically ever drink when I game, like as a, so this for me is... It's not normal.
I'm not playing at my best.
Yeah. This is the first one you have all learned. So it's fresh in your brain. I have 18 other games in my head right now. But so she was just laughing. She's like, why aren't you great at this game? I'm like, I'm terrible at it. Because I kept throwing in my pain card. I'm like, what am I doing? Like when I knew I was getting the trick. But this one is hard for me to wrap my brain around. But I do like it. It's a good one.
Yeah.
All right. My number 6 is Sleuth, and this is made in 1971 by Sid Saxon. Now, this one I had on my shelf of shame forever. I had watched all these reviews that said it was such a good deduction, clue-like game, and then I finally got it to the table, and wow, it doesn't look like much. It's just a deck of cards with a bunch of gems on them. So I'm like, can this be that fun? It really is. What you do is you deal out these cards, and everybody has I think it's 5 cards in front of them face up. They have a hand of cards. And so and then you have this sheet that has listed on it certain types of gems and then the amount of them. So there's singles, doubles, and then groups of them. There might even be one other section of there. But what you do is, okay, the cards you have in your hand, those aren't going to be the ones. I know I have a single opal and I have a pair of diamonds and whatnot. So it's not those. So, and then on your turn, you can choose one of the actions in front of you, which is, say it says clusters. So I can ask a person about any type of cluster. I can say, do you have any clusters? And they would have to show me all their clusters. Or I could say a specific one. I might have a card that says rubies, and I can say, like, how many rubies do you have? And they show me and only me, and then I cross it off. Now, you're on other people's turns, you're also deducing, because like you might be showing somebody 3 cards of clusters. Well, I already know I have one. So if you're showing them 3, you have the other 3. So you're kind of always like you're always doing something, even on other people's turns. You just have to know what you're actually looking for or whatever. And so what you're trying to do is figure out which actual card, because you have one card in the deck that's hidden and you're trying to figure out what that is. So it's like Clue, but you're only looking for a type, a color and a type and an amount of gems. And it just goes around the table until someone decides, okay, I'm going to guess it. And they circle it and they look at it. And if it's the right one, then they win the game. If not, they put it back and they're out of the game, but they have to keep still answering questions if people ask them about their cards in their hand. It's such a neat game. And like, it's not even, I probably didn't even describe it great, but if you ever get a chance, you should try this game. If you like Clue or any kind of deduction game, this one is awesome. And that's my number 6, Sleuth.
Nice. Yeah, I've heard you talk about this one. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, so that's 2 for Sid Saxon in a row. Can't Stop and Sleuth.
Look where you go.
Yeah. He's a beauty.
All right, my number 5 is Lost Cities. This one was created in 1999 by Reiner Knizia. It's a 2-player game. It's another push your luck game because you collect all these cards, but as you play, you can draw a card blind and add it to your hand, or you can draw from the discard piles, and you'll have a discard pile for each expedition that you can go on. As you get rid of some of the cards, you're going to be putting them in there. But if you start an expedition, automatically this expedition is going to cost you money, so it's worth negative points. But you need to add cards to it that's going to bring it back up so that it gets into a positive expedition. And you're playing low to high, and it has to be in order. Now you can skip and have gaps, but it has to be in order. So then be like, okay, well, I'm going to play a 1, and I'm playing a 2. So I guess I'll play a 5. It's like, oh, you played the 5. Well, then let me get rid of my 3 and my 4. And I was like, oh, you had them, so it's very interesting that way. So it's kind of like trying to decide which expedition are you going to go on. Do you have enough of the cards in your hand, but will they come up as well? There's also like a handshake symbol that will double the score of that expedition. Now it doubles it if it's negative as well, so you want to be really careful which one you decide to put those on. And you also kind of want to be careful as to what you discard, because you don't want to discard knowing the other player needs it yet, right? But then it kind of clutters your hand also. And then there's also like the where and when to draw, because the game plays until the draw pile is gone. Then it's done. So it's like, okay, well, I need more cards. Like it's like this expedition. So I don't want to end the game. Yeah. So I'm not going to take from the draw pile. But what if the card I need is in the draw pile? Yeah. But maybe it's in their hand and maybe they're about to discard it. Yeah. Like
I'll just wait. There's so many decisions in this game.
There's very interesting decisions in it. It's a beautiful game. And then it was funny, you hadn't realized, but when you put all the expedition cards in a row, it kind of creates a whole morale image of this. But I really enjoy this one. It's a neat game. It's one that I need to play again here. It's been a while. But that's my number 5, Lost Cities.
Yeah, there's another crossover. My number 5 is Lost Cities. And we've crossed over right on the same spot now too.
Right? That's funny.
I love this game. The funnest part, well, not the funnest, but it's funny to watch somebody play this for the first time. Because I always am like, don't go into too many expeditions because you can't do them all. Sure enough, every single one, they're like, yeah, you can easily finish these. No, you're not going to finish them. And you don't finish all the exhibitions, so don't start them. In your mind, you think, well, there's all these cards. For sure, I'm going to be able to. You can't. You'll get stuck. But it's just an awesome game. And you always play the best of 3, right? Or you play you play 3 rounds, I think is the full game of it.
Oh, okay, right, yeah.
3 rounds of it or something, but yeah, such an awesome game. My number 5 too.
Nice. So my number 4 is, this one is one that I like. It makes a lot of my top lists. And this is Bohnanza. So this Bohnanza was created in 1997 by Uwe Rosenberg. And this is just such a perfectly designed game. And they're actually coming up with a new version of it with flowers like Delilah's.
Dahlia. Yeah.
Dahlias. So which is probably going to appeal to a different group. Although Bohnanza is amazing and everything is like this cartoony bean. So you have the black-eyed bean that's the boxer. You have the wax bean that's like a janitor. And like it's
a stink
it's
bean.
Just really a stick bean. It's just a very satisfying game to play. But this is a trading game because you get your cards there, you have them in your hand, and you cannot sort them. They are in the order that they are. On your turn, you have to plant at least 1 bean into one of your 2 gardens. You only have the 2. And these cards, depending on how rare they are, will be worth a certain amount of coins, 1, 2, 3, or 4 coins, depending on how many of these cards you've accumulated. So it's like, okay, great. Well, I'm going to take this one and I'll plant it here. So I have a coffee bean. And that's great. So when I reach this many, it's going to worth 4 coins. And then you'll flip. Now you can plant more if you have more coffee beans. So maybe my next card was a coffee bean as well. So great. Now I'm planting a second coffee bean. So I got 2 coffee beans. Then after you've planted, you flip 2 cards. And these are going to the market. So you need to decide whether you're going to keep these and plant them in your garden or if you're going to try to trade them. And maybe it's like, okay, well, there's a coffee bean. Great, I'll keep that. So now I have 3 coffee beans. But then there's the blue bean. And I see what's coming up in my hand and I've got 2 other kind of beans coming up. So I really don't want the blue bean. So who wants the blue bean? What are you willing to give me for the blue bean? Do you have a coffee bean? It's like, well, yeah, I have a coffee bean, but I don't want the blue bean. I was like, well, but I have a wax bean I can offer, and you can only trade with the active player, but you're trying to get rid of the cards that's going to clutter your hand so that you can try to accumulate as many beans in your 2 garden as possible. And if for any reason, let's say nobody did take that blue bean, I have no choice. I have to plant it in my garden. And then I was like, great. Well, I was hoping to build up my coffee beans more and get more points, but I've got 4. I'll claim this. It's only 1 coin or whatever. The rest goes in a discard pile, but the back of the card has the coins. So you would keep one of them for your coin, and then now you have to plant your blue bean there. It is so neat. This is like almost a pure negotiation game. It's all about, it's like, okay, great. Well, I see that you have blue beans now. I'll trade you some blue beans. Do you have any wax beans? Like, no, I don't want wax beans. Like, okay, so how about if I donate this blue bean? Because I really don't want it in my hand.
Anyone, take it.
So let me sweeten the deal. So it is very interesting. I played once with somebody who does not like games, like they don't like co-op, but they really don't like games where I'm gonna help you. Oh. So none of this, but he's like, and he would refuse to do any trades. Like, no, because this is helping you. I'm not helping you. It's like, but now you're stuck with it. So I love this game. I love this game. It's so simple, but it's so clever. That's my number 4, Bohnanza.
Yeah, well, you were absolutely in my head because that is my number 4 too. And I don't even get to play this game very much because nobody likes it around me. And it's still my number 4 because it's such a good game. And I've played the dual one, which is not made before 2000. That I've gotten to play more because I can't get more than one person to play it, but I love it. It's also a good one, but the big one, I'd love to play with a big group and just be negotiating and trading.
Let's play it this weekend.
Yeah. Let's pull it out for sure. Yeah, and then if we ever stuck with just the 2 of us, we'll pull out Lost Cities too.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Yeah. All right.
Great. So that's so funny. So 3 crossovers at the exact same spot. Yeah. That's crazy.
I don't think we might have one more, but I don't know for sure.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, well, my number 3, this one is like the biggest game of that era. this one is been like has made a huge impact on the board gaming industry and has made a huge name for itself, and that's Catan. This one was published in 1995 by Klaus Tuber. This is still a game to this day that I really enjoy playing. It is so neat to kind of like, okay, and you roll, because you have this map that you create with all these tiles. Each tile is going to represent a type of resource, and you're going to be placing two village or settlement to kind of start with. And so the settlement is in the corner touching 3 of these tiles. So if when you roll the dice, it rolls a number of one of the tiles you're touching, you get to collect that resource and you pick up the card. So you roll that, okay, I really need clay, but darn it, my clay that I'm touching is number 11. And the likeliness of rolling an 11 is not great, but come on, please, 11, please, 11. I find because you're so invested in this game, not only on your turn, but on everybody else's turn, because if I roll an 11, and you're touching 11 as well, then you get to draw the card. Now, if I'm not near 11, but you are, you get to take that resource. I don't. And then when you have resources in your card, different combinations going to allow you to build roads. It's going to allow you to build more settlement. It's going to allow you to upgrade your settlements into cities. That game is amazing. It is clever. It is fun. I love everything about it. It's such a neat design. Now, unfortunately, mostly in the gamers group, I think people are tired of it because it was such a big game when there wasn't that many options that it's been overplayed, and a lot of people are just tired of it now. But I still really like this one. That's my number 3, Catan.
Yeah. Another reason they might not like it anymore, which is the reason I don't, it's a great design and everything, but dice absolutely hate me in this game. I could have buildings on 8 and 6 and 10, the most popular rolls. Those aren't getting rolled this game. We're rolling 11s and 12s, and I'm not getting anything. So I'll sit there with one card going, when am I going to get something so I can at least trade? Nothing. And so that could be another reason, because that's my reason, because the design is awesome. And I had, this was one of my gateway games too, and I really liked it. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I can't get anything. It doesn't matter where I put my building. So then if you can't get the rolls, you're not getting cards, so you can't trade. But that could be a reason too. There could be other people out there who don't get.
That's where rolls. The Traders and Barbarian expansion,
because
they have a card version where instead of rolling the dice, you flip the cards that'll show the number, so that it's more evenly
even. That's true. Yeah. That is a good point. I don't have that expansion, so that could do it. I mean, I would play it again, but it's usually. It was I
just want to see this dice curse you have.
Yeah. Well, and it's kind of lifts every once in a while. Not with that game, but other games, because my friends used to know it and they're like, oh, we're playing this. No, don't get her to roll it. Like if it was something I had to roll for everybody. And then, but lately I've been rolling some good dice when I actually needed to. So maybe I should try it.
You need to smudge your dice and
get some sage
have some
going.
Crystal around. We'll fix this first.
Take all my dice out of every game and just have a big,
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, that's right. Awesome. Well, that won't be a crossover on mine, but I do have other versions of the Catan, which I really like. And there's like a 2-player Rivals Catan, and then there's like a card game. They're really good, but they're
I love it's a very good Catan design as well.
And see, I've seen that game in my hands a few times. I was like a mediator for taking it and then somebody else buying it, and I've heard that one is the best. I'm not a Star Trek fan, but for some reason people say that one is what's the difference? Why is that one so much better?
Well, for one is you have a character that Like, so you'll be able to play as, like, have a spot character, or you have the
So you have an
captain,
ability?
or you have, and it gives you an ability, and you can activate it 2 times, and then after it's been activated second time, you have to swap it out. One's like the robber can't touch you, or one is like it gives you, when you build a road, you can build 2, or different things like that. So it just kind of changes it up a little bit. Plus, the components are amazing. Like, you have these 3D little towers that you put out everywhere, and all these little starships that you kind of build for your roads. It's cool.
Okay. All right. Well, my number 3 is Tile Rummy, or Rummykub, whatever you want to call it. This one was made in 1977 by Ephraim Hertzano. This one is a game that probably everybody's heard of or seen at one time. There's like just a little cheapy cardboard box version with like these really cheap plastic tiles that you could play, and they all play the same way. I ended up getting a version from the Machad Games, which is like in Montreal, I think they're from, or Quebec.
Right.
And they have these beautiful wooden boards, but with this one, it's just the player boards where you will stack your tiles. The tiles are really nice and thick. And so then you can just play them out however. But what you do is you start out with like about 12 tiles or so, and you're basically just trying to get rid of your tiles. And how you do that is you play them in sets or runs of a minimum of 3. And so if you have runs, they have to be the same color. If you have sets, they have to be all different colors. So you have to start out with at least 30 points. And to get 30 points, like, you would need, like, 10s would each be worth 10. And like, if there's, I think there's king and queens and stuff too, I believe. Yeah. Or no, maybe it's just 11 and 12s. But those
there are numbers, but it goes up to 13,
if I had,
I want to say.
Yeah, if I had 3 10s, I could like open up, but you can't open until you have 30, and you can't add on to other people's stuff out there until you've opened. But once you have opened, you can play just like one tile. If somebody has like a 1, 2, 3 and you have a 4, you can play it. If you can never play, you have to pick up a tile. So you're always picking up and adding more to get rid of. And you just want to like play all your tiles, and that's it. But the neat thing about it is how you can manipulate all the tiles out there. So if I have a 4 and a 10 left and I need to play it, well, there could be 2 4s in runs out there that I can pull off, and it still leaves runs of 3, and I can add that to my 1 4, and then my 10 can go on that 7 8 9 7 8 9, and then I'm out. So there's all kinds of things you can do, but sometimes you get like manipulating the board and you're like, oh, I got this one tile left now, I don't know what to do. And you can really screw the game that way. So you have to know what you're doing, because if you do that and you're stuck, you're going to lose the game because you don't know how to get it back to what it was. But it's such a neat game. And there's like 2 joker tiles too that can be anything. Yeah. And if there's a joker out there and you have the right number, you can take that joker, but you have to use it right away. But it's such a fun game. My family loves it. And I don't know anyone that I've played this game that doesn't like it. It's just
this is
such a simple rules again, but it's neat. And that's my number 3, Rummykub, I'll call it.
Yeah, because this one really plays like a card game. But it's with tiles. So it has that familiarity that just makes it so comfortable to play. This is one of the ones that I purposely removed from my list, along with Crib. And like, I was like, so okay, common, I'm not going to put it in there, but I love this one. It is so, just the clunkiness of the tiles and then the manipulating of what is on. It's so satisfying. Nice. Great choice. All right. My number 2 is Chinatown. This one was created in 1999 by Karsten Hartwig. This is like a pure negotiation game, and it is so neat. I remember the first time I played it, I was like, oh my God, I am getting this game. And I couldn't find it. And then when I did, I bought it secondhand. I was so excited for somebody in Edmonton, and kind of used like our Underground Railway system that we have in place to get it to me. And then it showed up and it was in shrink, and I didn't realize this. And I was like, oh, it was great. But this one, so you have this board that everybody plays on, and you're given cards every round that'll have a number on it. And this board is divided between like 5 or 6 different neighborhoods.
Mhm.
And so in this one area, I was like, okay, well, now I have this building, and this building. And they all kind of connect. But like sometimes I was like, okay, great, I got 6 and 7, but 6 and 7 are actually not next to each other because it's like it starts the next line, so it's really far apart. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to create clusters of numbers that are close to each other so that you can then place businesses on there. And like for every business you have in play, you're going to collect so much money at the end of the round. But if you're able to create a cluster of business, so if it's a restaurant can be up to 6 tiles. Well, now I have 3 of them in a grouping. Well, that's great. It brings me more money. But if you ever complete your cluster, so if it's like a jewelry business and it needed 4 tiles and you had the 4 tiles, well, then it bumps up how much you're going to get. So then it's like, okay, great. Now I'm getting this much money. And you can use the money to trade with other players. You can, because there's like, okay, I see you have number 22. I would really like number 22. How about if I give you my 12? Because that's really close to your 11 over here. Then you could start building something there. And they're like, what? I'm not giving you 22. You already have so many there. Like, that's going to give you way too much point. You got to sweeten the deal somewhere. Okay, well, I have some businesses here, and I noticed that you also need to have the laundromat. I could give you a laundromat tile as well. And you're like, and it's like, what else you got? It's like,
put 20,000 on, and I'll take it.
I'll start adding money, and so. But it is such a fun, satisfying game to play, and that's it. Like, that's the mechanism. You add the tiles and you negotiate. It's a negotiation game, and you play but multiple rounds until, and I can't remember what triggers the end, but I like it. No, actually, me and you played it not too long ago, just a month or so ago, and it's still so good. Love this game. So that's my number 2, Chinatown.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. Well, we have another crossover.
Okay.
My number 2 is Stickem.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So, like I said, this was when I introduced this to people, they just love it, especially people who are not gamers. I think because it gives them that trick-taking feel, the card-shedding feel kind of thing, and they love it. And for me, though, it is hard to wrap my brain around these rules because they're so different than all the other ones that I play, but I just love it. It's such a neat game that I don't get to play that often, so another one that I'd like to play again. But yeah, that's my number 2, Stickem.
Nice. So we're at number 1. My number 1, actually, the same day we played Chinatown, we played this one, and that was the first time I got to play it. So I just recently purchased this game, but this game was published in 1999, and that's Raw by Reiner Knizia. They've recently republished it as well, and I mean, the new version is amazing. Although the original version, I still like quite a bit. It was cool. And what's neat with this one is like you're adding cards into this row, and at one point you could be like, okay, I'm bidding on this, I want this pile, and then people can try to outbid you, but if they don't, then you get the cards and you add them to your pile. And some, like, you'll be getting these rivers and it doesn't score you anything unless you get that kind of initial tile one, and then the more you have, the more points it's worth. Some of them is like the more variety you have, the more points it's going to give you. Some of them are not good stuff, so you're trying not to get those. But I was surprised at how simple the gameplay was, but how neat and satisfying the play was. I really, really enjoyed this game. And that's my number 1, Raw. And I need to play it again because some of the details are still kind of fuzzy right now.
No, it's a good game. I ended up buying a copy of this too.
The deluxe one?
No, I didn't get the newer version, but I didn't get the deluxe. The deluxe is all wooden tiles. So it's in this giant box with this giant bag of wooden tiles. I've got the wooden, the bartering chips or whatever, auction chips are wooden, and something else wooden. The rest are cardboard, but they're really thick, nice cardboard.
Nice.
The reason I didn't get the deluxe is because I knew it wouldn't go over great with my gaming group, but I still wanted to have it for other people because I played it this weekend I knew Bernie would love it because he loves auction games. I wasn't sure. I thought like it might go over well with Cherry and Ashley, but they didn't like it. And Murray didn't really like it either. So just us 5 played it. And so at least Bernie really liked it, but I don't know why. I don't really love auction games either, but I really do like this one.
I like this one a lot. Okay, yeah.
It's sealed. They like it's for sure they don't like it, but that's fine. I still want it to play with, like, it's easy to teach non-gamers too. You just have to get the set collection of the tiles and explain that. And then once you do that, it's totally fine. But it's so neat how you're auctioning, because it's not just auctioning off your tiles, you're getting what's there. So you might be auctioning off something, but you're getting the 16, which is the highest one. So next round, you can get anything. You can win any auction. You can just make it get built up high and then wait till someone does it. And you're like, yeah, well, I'm going to get that no matter what. But no, it's good. It didn't make my list just because I've only played it twice and I don't know how much more I'll get to play it, but I do own it and I like it. It's a good choice. Well, my number 1 is another crossover.
Is it Chinatown?
Yes, Chinatown. Love Chinatown. It's so awesome. I've played it with family, play it with non-gamers, gamers, and it seems to go over well. For me, it kind of replaces like a Monopoly. Like I would much rather play this than that type of game. Like, and I do love the negotiation in this because you choose your tile and you're like, okay, I see what you got for tiles. You probably want these tiles, but I want that tile. But he wants this one. So I'll get that one from you to trade with him over there. And just all the stuff that's going through your head. And it's so fun. They've actually remade this game into a game. It's called Water Park. Oh. But it looks like it's like cutesy looking, but I'm going to keep my Chinatown. Oh, yeah. For me to say that, I know you always keep your classics. I always like the new and shiny, but I love my Chinatown. It's out of print, and I just love how it's like, it's Chinatown. Like it's got the old, like the sushi bar or the laundromat, the restaurant, and I don't know. I just really like this version of it. But yeah, that's
it is nice though that they've done a reprint.
Oh yeah,
so if you
because
can't
at least
find
other
it,
people can play it.
Yeah, you can find something newer out there that's more accessible. Because this one was hard to find, but it was just so satisfying.
Yeah, it's a good game.
Very nice. This was a fun list. I really enjoyed going because I like those old classics. I like to try the old games that So I was really excited when we did this list. I was like, okay, this is where I shine.
Yeah. Well, and we might have to do like a 2000 to 2005 or 2010 kind of thing and see what's in there.
Do like 5-year increments maybe or see how it goes. Yeah.
Some of the old gem Euros will be in there, or just some of the some of the great old Eurotrash games or something. But this was fun. And so we had 3 straight crossovers and then 2 other crossovers that we did at different numbers. I was surprised. I thought there'd be 2, maybe 3, but not 5. That was
a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. It was funny. I saw on a Facebook group somebody had posted is like, what was your favorite board game of the year that you were born? And some people's like, okay, 1978 was slim picking here. It was like
I'm 74,
1980 Can't Stop. That's one from my year.
I'd have to
But
look.
It was just so neat because I saw that today and we're recording this today. So I was like, oh, how fitting is this? Yeah. But great.
Awesome. All right. Well, now we are off to Calgary Tabletop Day. You're going tomorrow and I'm going Saturday. So our next episode we'll be talking all about that. We are actually on a panel and we're going to give our top 5 games, our top 5 getting into the hobby gateway family games. That's how they're calling it. And we're on a panel with Sam Healy, JT, and
Brian.
And who else?
Brian Drake.
Brian Drake is also. I wasn't 100% sure if he's on it. So he's also
Pretty
on
sure
the panel.
He is, yeah.
So it'll be
It's going to be great.
That's 5 of us. That'll be so neat.
5 of us.
Interesting.
Yeah, so we're doing top 5.
Yeah.
It was funny. I'm telling everybody's like, oh, it's the Board Gamers Celebrity Panel. And somehow they put us on there.
Yeah, we got thrown in there. I know, and we had our game night the other day, and I was like, and I remember we had to email Sam our list or whatever, and then so I was just looking at my phone. I'm like, just got an email from Sam Healy.
Right?
Bernie's like, oh, was that like a blanket email for the whole convention? I'm like, no, it was personal.
It's personal. Yeah, it's funny, like, because he messaged me and he's like, hey, Melanie, it's Sam Healy. I used to be on Dice Tower. Now I'm on the flip side of Board Game. And I'm like, you didn't need an introduction.
Oh, funny. And then,
I'm excited.
He invited you out tonight.
Yes, he's like, "Hey, are you in town? Let's go play games." I'm like
that's
"Man,
so
I'm not in town yet."
Dang it! Why wasn't I in Calgary?
Yeah, Lee's like, "Oh, so that means you're packing up, you're leaving right now."
Yeah,
I was like, "No, I can't. I didn't pack yet."
That's awesome. Yeah, no, it'll be fun. So
yeah,
we should have some good stories for.
It's
this
gonna
weekend.
be amazing.
But yeah, that'll be our next chat. But until then, where can people find you?
So on Instagram, my Instagram is Mal's_boardgame_room. On Facebook, it's Mal's Board Game Room. And my YouTube channel is Mal's Board Game Room. And we also have a Discord channel, so be sure to check it out. We finally have a link that doesn't expire, so that's amazing. How about you, Carla? Where can we find you?
I'm on Instagram at boardgamespecialist, all one word. And on Facebook, I have a page called Red Deer Board Game Fanatics. All right. Well, until next time, thanks for listening. Bye for now.
Bye, everybody.